Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your BOY Between the Game Sports back, giving you another great topic. Y'all know what it is. So let's jump right into it. As we all know, with the announcement of OU leaving and University of Texas leaving the Big 12, possibly next year or for sure in, I believe, the year 2024, the Big 12 had to do something. And everybody's first guess was, let's go to U of H. And that was my first thought too. And before we, let me rewind real quick, man. Shout out to my man Hoop Jorgen. Y'all subscribe to his channel. He broke this news kind of first. Him and his good friend Richard Walker. I believe Richard Walker has a YouTube channel and he has a press pass and all those good things. So I was listening to their show earlier on Hoops Jorgen channel. So I decided to kind of jump in, and this is a competitive game, so competitive YouTube game. So just wanted to jump in on it as well. So U of H was obviously the number one choice for everybody, with the Big 12 mainly having a bunch of teams in Texas with Baylor, TCU, University of Texas. They were there. I might be missing a school, not coming off the top of my head right now, but then you had Oklahoma, which is bordering Texas, and all those good things. So they had to do something. So U of H was obviously the number one choice, but the other choices that they decided to go with is quite a surprise for me. One being Brigham Young. Solid program, football-wise. They've always just kind of been solid under the radar. I would call them maybe kind of Gonzaga of football, like how Gonzaga is in basketball. Something of that nature, maybe somewhere in those lines. I wasn't expecting that. Cincinnati is a very good school. They've always been on the cusp of being a great program. If you're old enough to remember, in basketball, they were great when they had like Kenyon Martin and those type guys. Logan Smith, I believe was his name. And those type of dudes, they was always good in basketball. Sponsored by Jordan, And then the football team, they were pretty much undefeated last year until like the second and last game. I believe they lost to like Memphis in the championship game or something of that nature. And then I believe they lost their bowl game. You can fact check me on that. And then UCF, you remember a couple years ago, they were saying they were the real national champs. They were undefeated, had a great season, and all those things in football. But none of those programs as of this point can match up to U of H, to what U of H has been doing. That's unfortunate. U of H is getting in this late because a couple of years ago they had a really great program. The coach that's at UT now, he was at U of H, and he had those guys rolling. He ended up leaving, going to UT, and so U of H is kind of on the rebuild. But as I was watching Hoops Jorgen live earlier, Richard Walker said the U of H football program is 7-4 against Power 5 teams. That's an interesting fact. But what really helps this U of H thing is all those guys, they were losing to Oklahoma and Mizzou and all these bordering states and to LSU. This is scary for the Big 12, especially coming from football. We'll get on basketball in a second. But a lot of those U of H players were leaving the state, leaving the city to go play at other Power 5 schools because U of H was technically not a Power 5 type of program. So those recruits now, those Houston recruits, and I'm a Houston guy, I know, man, football runs deep in Houston. I mean, It's so many kids, it's so many schools, and if U of H can get these guys, oh my goodness, man, oh my goodness, it can get scary within a couple of years. I believe it's going to take them a while to get where they need to be, but it can happen. Now in basketball, U of H has been one of the better programs in any conference, any league, probably about the last 4 or 5 years in college basketball. That's just the truth of the matter. And what Kelvin Sampson and his coaching staff is doing, what they're doing, the best thing that's happening to them, they're getting the number one player out of Houston, rank-wise, every year, probably for the last 4 or 5 years. The anomaly was Quentin Grimes, who just got drafted by the Knicks. He went to Kansas first. He was the number one player in Houston. He was All-American. I watched that kid play a lot of games. He ended up going to Kansas, didn't work out, and he came back home to U of H, and now he is a first-round draft pick of this year in the NBA. So U of H program was already trending towards tier 1 of a basketball program. So now they were losing some guys that they probably shouldn't have lost. They lost Houston's all-time leading scorer. I can't think of his name. He's a sophomore now. He is at Baylor. And Baylor gets a lot of recruits. They get a lot of recruits out of Houston. So those guys that have been dipping off and going to Baylor and TCU and stuff like that, they have a chance to stay at home and play in a power conference. All right. They also talked about, which I didn't even think about, they also talked about the NIL thing. Houston is so big, you can get so many sponsors or endorsements for yourself. If you're a homegrown kid and you go to U of H, oh my goodness, some of these kids are really going to be rolling. They're going to be rolling in the bread, man. They're going to be getting the bag, as the young folks say. So I'm really, really, really interested about this. It's going to be a good look. Big 12, they had to do something again. They lost Oklahoma and they lost UT. And I'm sitting here and, just kind of going over some things. And they said that the commissioner of the Big 12 sent out the invitations or something of that nature to these 4 programs earlier. Now, if I can find it and pull it up, that'd be great. Let me see real quick. It said, here it is right here on CBS website. It says the Big 12 is likely to grow back to its original 12 members. Now, what's crazy is, as I was reading this thing, the Big 12 has lost, I believe, 8 of their original members. That's a lot of turnover. That's a lot of turnover. I can't find it, but I believe they said they lost 8 of their original members. That's crazy to me. I think they're going to be all right. I think they're going to figure it out, and they're going to remain a Power 5 conference in football. It doesn't really apply much to basketball, because basketball, if you have a good program and good seniors, you can do a lot of work and do well in the NCAA tournament. Now, for what this means for other conferences, like the American, they lose U of H, they lose UCF, I believe they lose Cincinnati. So what are these guys going to do now? Who do they go get? I've seen talks of them trying to get North Texas. North Texas is a rising program. SMU is still out there. I really thought maybe the Big 12 would try to reach out to them. SMU's football program is starting to get back to where they were pretty good, how they were in the 90s. You watch the 30 for 30, they had the death penalty and all that other good stuff. But this is mainly about U of H. If U of H can come in football in the next 2 or 3 years, the Big 12 will be all right. The Big 12 will be all right because, as I stated earlier in all those things, all those Houston recruits, they don't have to leave anymore. Especially if they can get their name, image, and likeness done the correct way and nobody is trying to sucker them or weasel money out of them or anything of that nature, U of H is gonna get some big recruits. You got places like Katy, which is right out of Houston. Katy has always been a top program in the state of Texas. You got places like Dickinson and then the Beaumont area and then the Silsbee area, Lamarck. Man, all these areas surrounding Houston, they have great kids and they can play at a high level. And then if they can get a chance to stay home, y'all know if you played in college ball, college sports, you know how hard it is to be away from home. If you can stay at your home school or the school that's the biggest school that's closer to your home, you don't have to get homesick as often. You can drive 35 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour back home, get you a nice cooked meal and all that other good stuff. So I'm excited about it. I'm ready to see where it goes. Y'all please let me know your thoughts. Who do y'all think is going to emerge as the top program? Is it going to be UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, or U of H? I'm rolling with U of H. Y'all let me know if I'm right or wrong. Let me know what your thoughts. You think that the Big 12 picked the right 4 schools? Because there's other surrounding, schools that they probably could have went after. So, man, I just wanted to get that off my chest, man. Shout out to Hoop Jargon. They kind of broke this news first, and there's going to be plenty of guys and other YouTubers trying to break this news out, but he was the first that I seen, first that I heard. And so shout out to him and Richard Walker. But again, man, y'all leave y'all thoughts down in the comments. Please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and then hit that bell button for those notifications. And I appreciate y'all. As always, as I try to get out of here, on your best day, be better. Between the Game Sports, I'm out. Peace.